All right. Welcome to the first episode of our brand new podcast,
The Thinking Wealthy
Thinking
podcast.
Wealthy podcast.
The Thinking Wealthy
The Thinking Wealthy
podcast.
podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Nick Roberts.
And I'm Aiden Tornillo.
We're two young entrepreneurs. I'm 19.
I'm 18.
He's 18. And we're here to kind of explain ourselves, get an episode going. People listen in. If you find anything interesting from this podcast, we pretty much don't run ads here. We don't plan on running ads. So go tell your friends about us. Go tell your mom. Go tell your dad, sister, or brother, if you have one of those. Tell your family. Yeah, tell us if we ever provide information. Go tell them.
Go tell them.
Go tell them.
If you don't know, we want you to tell them.
Yeah. Anyways, this is Aiden over here. He's gonna tell him about himself, what he does.
So first we'll introduce the point of the episode. So today we're going to be talking about saving money. I feel like a lot of people our age have a hard time starting by saving money, but really saving money is a really simple concept. And once you start kind of putting into practice some of the things that we're going to be talking about today, I think it's going to be a lot easier for you. To kind of quickly introduce myself, I'm a college student. I'm 18, and I have not a lot of reputable things behind me.
We're getting there, though. We're getting
there.
It's a process.
The main point of this is to kind of share our ideas, our things that we have gone through so far in this process of kind of becoming successful.
Yeah.
And the whole point really is to help out other people our age or people older or even people younger. Who cares? Just people who are looking to get started with becoming more financially free and thinking more about becoming successful. That's what we're here to do. We're here to show and share our journey through it and do it with you guys because it's easier to do things together than alone.
It's a climb, we're all here in the same boat. But yeah, we just really want to show you guys that it's really not that bad. Pretty much.
For real.
For real. Faux.
For real.
Anyways, so let's just literally jump into it. Let's
Did you want to share anything about yourself or do you
I guess I'm a middle school dropout. No, I'm just playing. I'm an 19-year-old now. Oh my gosh, entrepreneur. I love the grind. I love helping people. I love being motivational. I run a couple small businesses, and I'm working here on the Thinking Wealthy brand with my homie. We've been best friends since like 4th grade,
Forever,
3rd grade,
bro. I
2nd
don't think
grade.
it was 3rd grade.
Yeah, but it's been a while. Anyways, but yeah, we've been homies and we're on the grind, and that's me. Anyways,
It started with the football grind.
It started with a football grind, but that's a whole nother episode. Anyways, let's jump into it.
So for saving money, it's we're going to talk all about kind of the process that goes into saving money. It's not like an advanced process. There isn't really any sort of steps that you need to follow, but instead we're going to be going over a couple of key things that I think have helped me save a lot of money, and Nick will share some of the things that he thinks as well. But we're just going to go over some of the basic concepts first, because there's a lot of things that I see people doing. They're like, oh, I'm trying to save money or whatever. But instead of approaching it by first thinking about saving the money, they think, oh, I'm not going to buy that thing because I need to save money. And I guess first, let's talk a little bit about mindset. I think mindset is the most important thing when it comes to saving money, because if you're going about it hating the idea of saving money, you're always going to save
fail.
less.
Yeah.
You're going to end up going against what you want to do, which is save money, and instead just be like, oh, I guess this week I will spend it, but next week I won't.
See, okay, look. The one thing I kind of want to add in here with this mindset is literally everyone, you know what to do. The thing is, you're not willing to put in the effort to do that. You get what I'm saying? Because I think people, it's easy to spend money, right? Don't get me wrong, dude. I want to buy something sick just as much as you want to, but it's more about the discipline factor. Because, like, think about it. Do you really need something that's, like, bright, shiny, pink that doesn't even do anything for you? Or do you want to save that money and put it into, a little investment that makes that money back later so you can buy that bright, shiny, pink thing, but with the actual money you have? You know what I'm saying?
So I guess I wanted to kind of start by, I feel like right now we're kind of talking about like the theory of it, but I wanted to say like the literal thing that I use for saving money, and like there is a kind of a system I use in terms of like calculating how much money I want to save. And how I do it is I say I basically, instead of thinking about the amount of money that I'm trying to save, I think about the amount of money I'm trying to spend. That way, I can kind of control the amount I'm spending way better. If you think, at least from my perspective, if you think about it in this way of, I'm going to spend this much in a week rather than I'm going to save this much in a week, it allows you actually to save a lot more. Like usually with the amount of paychecks I'm making, I'm saving over 50% of my paycheck easily because I only plan on spending like 20 to 30% of it, and the rest of it can be put away. And then sometimes I'll spend something if I'm buying something, aka like the stuff to do this podcast. Yeah. Sometimes some money goes out of saving. That's something we'll talk about later, which is investing some of that money. But overall, you can kind of set a percentage that you want to save if you want to. But I think about it more as like, I always think I try to spend $200 every paycheck, which in my opinion is actually kind of a lot. I feel like that's like, I don't know how much you do, Nick, and if you want to share how much you do.
Yeah.
But like, honestly, that's my kind of set one.
Per paycheck, I keep it pretty thin, right? I keep it around maybe like 50 to 60 per paycheck. Like I'm keeping
That's crazy.
Yeah. This is the way I think about my money is a tool. This is not like I don't spend much money out like at all. I pretty much let myself get one meal a week, try to keep it between 1 and 3, right? And then gas now. Like that's pretty much all I spend my money on. So I keep it really thin because to me, money is a tool. I'm using this money to literally like grow my future. I'm not trying to spend it on something stupid. Like there's been instances where I really want to buy something, right? I really want to get this like next hoodie that's like, oh, it looks so sick. Literally it was happening today. I saw this like sick anime hoodie and I was like, bro, I need to cop this, bro. And then I took a step back and I was like, what matters more, this hoodie or investing in the future, right? Because I can use this money to actually grow myself towards the future that I want. Because money is a tool. It's not something that I want to be spending on just like pink, bright, shiny stuff.
Right. And I guess it's actually a great example of me and Nick, I guess, both have a bit of a different perspective of how much money to spend per week. For me, I do eat out a lot. That's mainly like the thing I do.
Every day, bro.
Every day. I feel like almost every day I'm
McDonald's
buying something out. And it's mainly like I try to do my best to eat from home, but, you know, I go to school and work, and there's like a lot of time where I'm like, oh, man, I have no way to actually not have to buy something out. But you know, once again, the whole point is to kind of set like a goal for yourself. And this goal we are trying to achieve is, instead of just being like, okay, I'm going to set this amount that I want to save, this much I want to spend, means you get to save in the process a lot more. Because if you think about it, like let's say I get paid $700 in a paycheck and I'm only spending $200 of it, which is still a good amount of money to spend in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Then you're saving $500 of your paycheck. That's $500 that can go towards stuff in the future, stuff that can be invested, all of that type of stuff. And you're constantly able to build on that money every 2 weeks. It grows really quick.
It does.
I think like a lot of people look at saving money as like when you start, right? Like when you start, okay, you can save however much you save in your paycheck. Let's say $500. And $500 might not seem like a lot. Like it's still like a lot, but it might not seem like a lot in terms of like the big numbers that people are talking about they're saving and all that, right? But over time, $500 every 2 weeks, that's $1,000 a month. That's $12,000 in a year. That's $12,000 that you could have spent on random stuff, but instead you're keeping. And then if you think about investing it and moving it towards your future, in the long term, you're going to have a lot more money with that money. And overall, money is a tool. Like Nick said, you can use it to grow your wealth a lot more than you can by just buying a meal. And it might seem nice to, and I do it a lot as well, but sometimes like having that restraint.
Mom's home cooked meals, right? You ain't gotta always go out. You know what I'm saying?
You don't. You really don't. And like it's sort of a process and like something to try to kind of build towards. You can keep working at it, and it's like a skill. You're going to develop the skill of saving money. Like in the beginning, I wasn't as good at it, but as I moved on, I continued to work on it. I learned, techniques and things in terms of like prepping food before I go to work, so then I don't have to worry about, spending money on a meal, which can be easily like $12, $15.
Yeah. So, kind of a point that is built that I want to build off the tool type deal of money is something we always preach here is discipline, right? And I think the fact a lot of people spend their money so much is almost like a lack of discipline with their money. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like derived from that wanting more than what you actually need, right? So implementing the discipline to think of money as a tool and to stop yourself from spending it on pink, bright, shiny stuff, you'll find yourself using money in the way that is a lot more effective than how other teenagers do it, you know? Especially like, look at it this way, right? You're a teenager. I'm guessing you're most likely working a minimum wage job.
Yep.
You know, you're not making that much money right now. You might even be like in debt from spending money on stupid stuff. But once you start to learn to use money as a tool, then you're actually going to have like a weapon on your side and you're going to be disciplined. And then you're going to start using that money towards actual bigger things that matter in the future instead of the pink, bright, shiny things.
Right. And I think right now is actually kind of a perfect place, you know, to kind of put in, let's talk quickly about, at least this is a strategy that I use and a strategy that I've recommended other people to kind of think about. Because one thing that me and Nick both have is we both live at home.
Yeah.
So there's
with
not a lot of, with our moms.
With the moms, bro.
And because of that, we don't have a lot of expenses, right?
That
like
is very
there's
true.
not a lot of bills that we are paying per month. And that might be different for other people. So the whole point of this is don't look at the number as like, I want to save $500, right? Because you might not even be able to have $500 for food in a paycheck. Like, depending on how much you're making and how much your expenses are, you need to kind of break those things apart. And I want to quickly, I guess, say kind of how I do that. First of all, I think about like the expenses, so the things I have to pay. For me, it's not much, but for you, let's say, we'll give an example. Let's say you made $800 this paycheck, right? So in 2 weeks, you've made $800. Then you have to think about all the expenses that you're going to do. Let's just say theoretically, and every month you have to pay $200 in expenses. That means for this paycheck, your expenses count is $100. So that means you have $700 left over. And then after that, you got to think about your basic needs, right? Your food, your water, your electricity, all those other things that you kind of need. After that, it's basically free game. And if you think about it, those needs might cost you another $200. So now you're down to $500. But after that, you have $500 saved.
That's a lot of money.
A lot of people are like, oh, okay, I have all these expenses, all of these things, right? And rent is really expensive already. I know it can be hard. And don't think of these numbers as like, these are the numbers you need to have. But instead, just think of it as like a percentage thing. Like, let's do the best we can. Let's maximize the amount of money that we can save. And just think about your expenses a bit. If you start to like actually map out how much you're spending per month, you're going to understand it a lot better. Humans tend to follow habits a lot. Like, we probably spend around the same amount each week to month, right? Like, we're going to end up doing a lot of the same things over and over again. And you can kind of see, like, maybe if you get coffee every day, instead of doing that, you can start making coffee at home.
That's the way to do it, bro.
And you're not spending $5 every day. It might not seem like much doing $5 every day, but then in a week, that's $35 if you're going every day. And then in a month, that's like over $120 for sure. What, 140 bucks. It's 140 bucks if it's 35 each week.
Yep.
So think about that. That's 140 bucks out of the $1,600 you made in a month.
Yeah.
That's a crazy amount that you could be saving by just not buying that coffee. And you can still go have that coffee like once or twice a week and be saving a lot more money.
It's the discipline, you know. Like I said before, it's hard to make that choice because as humans, we want to have that stuff because, like, who doesn't want a nice cup of coffee that a cool barista made for you? But at the same time, if you could save that money, you can link it back to using that as a tool to improve your future. It's delaying that gratification to improve the future. You get what I'm saying? Yeah,
for sure. And, like, it can definitely be difficult to kind of get into that mindset, right? I think a lot of people struggle with that. Yeah. I, for sure, like, in my opinion, Nick has a way better control over his mindset than I do. I have a lot of kind of ups and downs, and Nick's a lot more steady in his mindset. And I think it's good to understand that. Like, don't think you need to be perfect. You don't need to be perfect with it. You're going to make mistakes along the way. We all make mistakes along the way. There's always going to be times where you slip up and go, oh, I'm just going to buy this. And it's okay. You're allowed to have some amount of fun in your life.
Yeah.
But
I'm not preaching no fun.
Control is kind of what we're instead trying to say. Like, learn to control it, so then those moments feel even better. Because if you don't spend money all the time, those moments when you do spend that money are going to feel excellent. It's going to feel great.
You made it worth it.
Because not only did you make it worth it, but you successfully saved and you still got that thing you wanted.
Oh, yeah. He just dapped me up right there.
We dapped up.
Dude, that was sick. That sounds so bad. Kind of continuing forward with the whole saving money thing. I think, so for me personally, what I have kind of learned collecting my financial understanding and education throughout the years is the main thing that I try to do is, I wouldn't recommend this for everyone, especially since I do live with my parents still. It makes it a lot easier, is literally just saving as much as possible. Like I try to do like 80 to 90% per paycheck, right? Like I'm cutting it thin. And the reasoning for that is, building up the discipline, which, we preach here. We love that discipline. But another thing is that like, it's so much more money that I can use towards my actual projects instead of spending it on things that I haven't really had time for. It's a mindset thing. Sorry if it got quiet. Kind of leaning away from the mic.
Yeah. So what I wanted to say definitely was the mindset is really important. I think that's the main thing that people lack. Like it's not like the actual doing the math of how much money you need to save. That's not going to change much.
It's not that hard. Yeah.
It's you'll understand it. And basically the goal of saving is saving as much as you possibly can. But setting those kind of limits and those boundaries help you do that, right? If you don't define a goal at all, it's a lot harder to achieve it.
It's okay. One way I kind of want to put it is kind of like dieting, right? So many people, they know what to do. It's like really simple. There's plenty of stuff out there that you can find how to set up a healthy diet, but it's like executing that people struggle with. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's a hard thing. Don't beat yourself up over it, but like at the same time, you can do it. It just the only thing stopping you is literally you. Like that is it.
Yeah. And it's at the end of the day, like I said, you're going to make those mistakes. You're going to have those bumps along the way. But when it comes to saving money, it's such a gratifying feeling to see
satisfaction, bro.
All of that money kind of build up. And the most important thing I think people don't think about is saving money is more than just putting money into an account and let it sit there. And we're going to talk a lot more about investing in the next episode.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that's the right time to get into it right now, going straight from teaching you about saving money to straight to teaching you about investing, because both of these concepts have a lot of nuance to them. I think saving money, though, is a lot more of a simple concept. Investing is a whole world of different things and can take years to master, and neither of us are masters, let me tell you.
We're just starting out, bro.
We do have some stuff that we've learned along the way, because you can learn a lot, and we're just going to kind of set some of those things up. But in terms of one more thing I want to say about saving money, and kind of the thing that I see the most people kind of fail with when it comes to starting to accumulate that wealth, is when they get their paycheck and they get it, they already have things set that they are going to buy before they even get that money. So people are like living paycheck to paycheck because they're thinking about all these things they want to buy once they get their paycheck.
Yeah.
So as soon as you get the paycheck, you buy like 4 things and spend half of it. And now you're going and starting off with half the amount of money.
I literally have actually a story on this one, straight up. So I was at work. This was a couple months ago. Just my coworkers, they were literally talking about their paychecks because we got paid like the next day or something. And everyone's like, "Oh, we're getting paid. What are you guys buying?" And some dude was talking about buying like $400 pillows. Like they're like, "Oh, dude, I'm so excited just to spend $500-$400 on these pillows because I'm gonna sleep so good with them." Like, think about it though. You're gonna spend $400 on pillows. That's like a huge chunk of your paycheck, and they're already thinking about it. Instead of like, we haven't even been paid yet, right? We were getting paid in like a day or so. Like we didn't even have this money yet, and people are like, "Oh, I'm gonna buy this just beautiful pillow." It's a pillow, all right? Like think about it, all right? You know, it's like, how badly do you need a pillow for $400? Like,
it's a bit extreme.
I don't even like, if I got a pillow for $400, it has to be worth it. It has to be like, it's gotta be like a part-time girlfriend or something.
Yeah,
like that thing.
That pillow's gotta.
That has gotta be a woman, bro. Straight up. But like seriously, that's the thing. People are kind of like jumping into they want to buy something as soon as they get the money, but they never think about what they could actually gain by saving that money.
That's a great thing to say, and I totally agree with that. It's like when you start with saving money, it always seems worse than buying something.
Oh yeah.
Like, it always seems like, oh, this is going to suck way more than just buying something with it, because, buying something's fun. It's exciting. It's interesting. It gives you that jolt of excitement when you get it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've bought so many things where I'm like, dude, why the hell did I buy this?
$400 pillow, bro.
$400 pillow. Like, after 3 days, the pillow's going to feel like your other pillow.
You have to recharge it or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. People will put this saving money in a negative context, because I never hear someone who's excited who's like, oh my gosh, I saved this money so I can save it for later, like other than coupons, right?
Yeah.
But no one's really excited about being like, oh, I saved 50% of my paycheck. Nobody's like that. They're like, oh, I spent 50% of my paycheck on this brand new car that I didn't really need because I had a good car already. But like stuff like that,
Yeah.
People always put it in a negative context instead of thinking about it in a positive light, because it's beneficial to save money.
It really is. And it's like, there's never going to be a point where saving money isn't beneficial. And that's kind of the main thing I always try to think about, is like, saving money is always going to be beneficial for now and the future.
Yeah.
Something that I kind of think about myself is, before I was an adult, I didn't think much about the fact that I might need like a pretty big sum of money for something kind of tragic that happens.
Dude.
For an example, I was driving Nick to my friend's house.
Oh my gosh, dude, this is.
And he had me park in his garage.
I just want to say, I could have stopped this. I still blame myself for the situation.
Well, so like, we were parking in his garage, and I don't know. This garage was tiny, in my defense.
He was not paying attention.
I wasn't thinking fully about it, and I just
not thinking
scraped
wealthy.
the side of my car, like down the like stucco wall of his garage, like the entrance to it, and I got a huge scratch on the door. And
it was bad.
It was pretty bad, and like, we cleaned it up, but it was still pretty bad.
Did not get cleaned up,
It was,
bro.
yeah, it was pretty bad. And I was like, oh my God, dude. And so I go and see to get it fixed, and it was a $1,582 fix.
Yeah.
And that was money that had to come out of my pocket. And I had the money saved, luckily, but this wasn't something that needed to happen. But think about it, instead of like some tragic thing that needs to get fixed right then and there, that like emergency money, a lot of people aren't sitting on $1,500.
No.
Like, that's like, most people I know have less than $500 saved in their account.
That is true.
And it's consistently like that. Like, most of my friends are constantly buying things. And look, it's okay. You're allowed to buy things. But like we've said,
show some control, bro.
Show some control. And the best way to do that is by setting that spending limit. Because you can still feel good with however much you feel good spending. So for Nick, it's, $50
$50,
paycheck.
bro.
He feels good doing that, right? I feel good spending $200 a paycheck. I feel like that's a reasonable amount for me. And keep in mind, spending money does not mean money that you're paying on bills. That is money you're paying on food and kind of more enjoyable things like the coffee or, tea or whatever you're buying, or, fun clothes or whatever, that type of stuff. And then the rest you save. You're feeling good about the fact that you've met that spending limit, you've spent the money. And the other great thing is, if you spend even less than that, you feel even better because you save a bigger chunk of it.
More
You're
money.
like, dang, I didn't even spend my $200.
More money, less problems.
And like we've said before, it's going to be really difficult in the beginning. It's going to be hard.
Everything's always hard in the beginning.
Everything's always hard. And especially if you're somewhat of a chronic spender, in quotations.
That's everyone.
It can be pretty difficult. I've seen a lot of friends do a lot of things with like, oh man, I don't even have enough money to like pay for the things I actually need to pay for because I just spent all this money on random things. So the most important thing that I think you should do is understand your expenses first. Understand the things you need, right? Like, I used to see, like, I was really, when I was first getting into investing, I was like reading a lot of like different things and learning a lot of new things about ways to invest. And like, I would see people like just talking in like random chats and stuff, like mainly like Discord things of different things. They're like, yeah, man, I just put all my rent money into this investment and it has like a 30% chance of working out. But if it works, I'll have like 4 times my money. And I'm like, okay, 4 times your money sounds great. But for 30% chance that you're not being able to pay rent for that month, that's a pretty big gamble. And kind of my whole point is that you should never be spending money that you're not afraid of losing.
Bro,
right?
Facts.
Like, you shouldn't be like, okay, I'm going to spend this money, but if I lose it, I'm screwed.
That is, yeah, you don't want to be in that situation.
And like
We're not gambling here.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is like in the investment world stands very strong, but like even in just like basic spending, like people be like, yeah, I just bought this $200 jacket.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, but you don't have $200 to pay your rent? They're like, yeah.
So
like what? It doesn't make any sense. Like, think about the things you need to pay for first, then start thinking about the spending and the saving and all of the money that you can kind of move around, the stuff that's fluid and able to be spent, not the stuff that you need to pay your bills.
So, yeah, pretty much to, I guess, kind of wrap things up here in a nice bow, literally just be disciplined about it. Like, of course, I'm not telling you, I'm kind of an extreme, right? Like, I only spend very small portions of my paycheck, but, like, I'm telling you guys, be smart about it. Buy things that you actually need. Don't buy the things you don't need, because you know what you don't need. Like, be smart about it. It's very simple. Just do it. Literally put in the work. Literally, like, Nike it, bro. Just do it. Like, that's all you got to do is put in the work.
Yeah. And, like, you know, we'll wrap it up I'm going to just say the concepts one time again, just to kind of, you know, cement them and make you really think about them. And keep in mind that all of this stuff is not going to be like, if you do this, now you're going to be rich. Yeah. That's not what this is. This is simply goals and things for you to start, you know, maybe thinking about implementing into your life, trying these things out and seeing, you know, if what we say actually has merit and works. Try these, you know, it doesn't take much to just try this out for the next paycheck. Like, see, okay, how much do I want to spend? Set a goal for yourself and see if you can do it. And you'll notice how much money you actually save.
Yeah.
So for kind of the overall, what you should take away from this is what I think you should take away. Number one, being that saving money starts with the mindset. If you don't have the mindset, you're not going to save a dime. You need to start by thinking about how much you want to save and how much you want to spend. And like I've said before, set a spending limit, not a saving limit. At least that's worked for me way better than a saving limit. The next concept is kind of understand your expenses. Don't be going into it saying, I'm going to save all this money, but then you don't even have enough to pay for your rent because you're trying to save it all or something. Like, think about it first by cutting out the things that you need to pay for. Then from that money left, save some of it, spend some of it. And finally, you know, when it comes to saving, there isn't going to be some perfect thing that always is going to work. And there's going to be times that you need to spend more, and there's going to be times that you don't need to spend as much. And those jumps and valleys are what makes life. There's going to be always times where things are different. And the most important thing is keeping the mindset strong and always trying to achieve the goal. And even if you mess up, you try for the next week. That's kind of what, you know, discipline is.
Yeah. So, honestly, guys, thank you for listening. If you made it this far, good job. Here, like, this is the first episode. If you're from the future when we made it big and listen to this episode, I know where you live. We're going to come find you.
Yeah, we control the world now.
We're not. Yeah, anyways, we run the world, one world government over here. But, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, for real.
And the one more thing I want to say is for the next episode, because we're going to be doing these episodes weekly.
Every Monday.
Come tune in for the next week, because it ties directly into this episode with, now that you've learned to save your money, what do we think you should do with that money? Because it's not just keeping it in your bank account.
Yeah, that's not fun.
So that's going to be what the next episode's all about, which is investing and learning not just stocks and, you know, becoming some big day trader, but actually thinking about the future and, you know, being safe with your money and making it so it's, you know, a good investment, but it's not just disappearing because you spent it all on AMC.
Yeah. Shout out
AMC.
Shout out AMC.
Shout out Grant Kanye.
We love you, Grant.
And we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Remember,
we hope you enjoyed.
Guys, if you learned anything, if you found any value, go tell your family, all right? We appreciate you guys. Go have a good rest of your day, and let's go do something with our lives.
For real. We'll see you guys on the next episode.
Peace.
Peace out.